please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? We need to take down the spoopy decorations that are all over the USS Arcadia, but as I can't be bothered, I'm going to go hang out in the shuttle pod and drink all my Kraken reserves, along with the NPC crews. It's punishment for no reason whatsoever, but I'm sure I can think of one over the 3-day weekend I've decided to take. Welcome to This Week at X, number 199. We've almost done 200 of these, and we're still going nowhere with it. That's some commitment. Today we're going to start with Liver King, who I may have to do a Where Are They Now on because I didn't keep up with him over the course of this year, and he's on sort of bed rest at the moment. But it's okay, he's still, living his best life. So a video was tweeted out by Mittens. He's not going to be with us much longer, ... included, he's on a lounger by a very dirty looking pool, having a little conversation.
What is up, my primals? I'm following all the doctor's orders. I have not left bed. This is my day bed. I'm following all the orders. I'm definitely not working out. But here's the thing. There's always 126 ways to solve for any problem. When you think your back's against the wall, when you think you have no other option, there's always 126 ways to solve, to figure it out, to progress, to evolve. I like to say this one word. I do it a lot. It's called more.
I really wish he hadn't confessed, I think in September, to being back on steroids. The ancestral living movement that he was a part of is a shambles. He's being sued to the tune of $25 million from his own followers because he's conned them. And that's what you do? Fam, I know you think, and many think, life is short, but you're nearly 50, if you're not already, that is. Accept you're getting old and move on with your life. Show people how to gracefully bow out. Head into your twilight years not trying to look like a Mr. Olympia who's not only past his prime but still begging for the attention. You're the tallest hobbit in the Shire and the most muscular one at that. But your muscles are a joke and the only person that finds them remotely interesting is Vince McMahon. If you were a foot taller, he'd make you a star.
Can you work out from the bed? How many, what level is that? 24? Alright, I think Thanos got to 30. Let's get me to 30. We're going to 30. What number is that? Alright, let's go ahead and crank it to 35. More. Every time I say more, let's go up by 5. More. More. More? You want to know Liver King's ab routine? Number 1, they're called ab implants. And this is how you maintenance them. Once a year, you got to hook it up to the compartments. That's why I got 12 of these pads on me. Because I got a 12 pack, But you wanted to know, here it is.
When your body looks like a bodysuit and it looks so uncomfortable to be on your body, it's time to consider removing the costume and just accepting your body for what it really is. Whether you're joking or not, you look like you're LARPing as somebody who wants to be something else. I've seen LARPers look more convincing, and at least they get to take their costume off when they're done with it. You don't. You just continue to joke about it to downplay the severity of what you're actually doing to your body under the guise of, but my brand and also I have 126 solutions to the problem I'm creating, while simultaneously denying it's a problem. For those interested, keep your eyes open, peeled, yes. In December, there may well be a Where Are They Now on Liver King, so I can cover some of his more interesting activities from 2023. Moving on, a bit of audience participation, courtesy of a poll issued by Will Goran. On the screen now is a video. Will Goran had tweeted this out with poll. If given the choice, men would not choose a woman who looks like this. Prove me wrong. Continuing, don't get me wrong, I think she's very pretty, except the manly ass muscles are a no-go for me. Would you date this girl? Poll answers are hell yeah, yeah, no way. With over 27,000 votes, hell yeah is winning. Continuing, still got 15 hours for the rebound. The no team is working night shift. They're coming. They coming? Yeah. Tree of Logic, cope harder. I don't care for this very judgy mentality of people would feel threatened by women that possess muscles. I will admit, there are more extremes that I personally do not find attractive, but that's a personal preference. And I mean the extremes. There are many men that find that individual in that video attractive. I don't like the term body shaming, but you are, in a sense, shaming somebody for being proud of the body they have chosen to have, because that kind of body takes a lot of hard work. And I think it's very rude, obnoxiously rude in fact, to, let's say, presume that guys would not find that individual attractive. I'm sure she looks fantastic in a dress. I'm sure she looks fantastic when she works out. Although since most humans look disgusting when they work out, which is a sign they're working out properly, the answer should be fairly obvious on that. But she's made an effort to look good for herself, not for you, Will. I guess that's the main point. And your cope in further messages and how your poll fell absolutely flat is hilarious. It really is. Do tell me in the comments down below what you think. I've always held a bit of a middle ground when it comes to these kind of things, because I don't really care for judging somebody's appearance. Unless they do it to me first, in which case you're fair game. I also figured since this tied in with Liver King, it was a nice little segue. Next, I want to read a tweet from Just Stop, one that I actually think is quite important. Yeah, ever think, I hate how you start, about how most of the deviants and weirdos we know are only public knowledge because they were dumb? Creepshow Art could have used a VPN. EDP could have asked for and sourced pictures of the girls he tried to groom. Linkara could have not matched his username on adult sites. Kiro, the wolf, could have not provided hard evidence of banging his dog, and that was him. All of them were caught because they were idiots, plain and simple, meaning you'll most likely never know 98% of the depraved rubbish most people do since they can actually keep it secret. He is in this instance quite right. I'd like to associate this further with other creators who this year have been absolutely sautéed. Snipewolf is getting reamed still, because more and more is coming out. The lawsuit with, I believe, her ex-husband doesn't make her look any better either. Of course, the Jax film situation really didn't. Older clips of her saying how far she'll go to hurt people. Yes, this is not doing her any favours. Illuminati, another great example. From my end, I could include Nada El Shami. These people are shady. Most creators are, in fact. I don't associate with most of them anymore because I know they're snakes. Once you realise just how crappy people are, you learn to distance yourself for the sake of your own sanity. I've seen how far some are willing to go in communities I refuse to indulge in. Doxing is a great example of it. Some will use it as a way of stopping others from criticising when they themselves are a liar, and that will bite you eventually. Time will get anyone who lies. And in this, all those people that Just Stop has mentioned have been done in because of their stupidity. I'd add Illuminati to that list because if she was a bit more transparent or perhaps rectified the situation sooner rather than thinking herself above it, might not be where she is now. There are other creators who've done this, who have fallen off because they refuse to accept reality. So next, I want to show a video because I cover these kind of topics on Omegon 2 quite often, where people get a bit offended, but we only get a very short amount of their argument. So there are two problems with the clip. One is the person getting offended over something quite trivial in the context of how you present and a presumption, yes, and the other being when we're only given a brief clip of the entire clip and no ability to find what the actual full clip says so we can perhaps understand the individual better.
Disgusting. I just went through the Taco Bell drive-thru because I'm a whore for Taco Bell. And do you know how they greeted me? They said, "Hello, ma'am." And then after handing me my food, said, "Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day." What about me says ma'am? I have a fucking red mullet.
Perhaps it should now be a time where instead of greeting someone as sir or ma'am, we need to now just say, "Hello, person that just walked in. How may I take your order today? Person, would you like fries with that? Person, would you like to go supersize? Person." You'll realise soon enough when the impersonal starts being used, how much more aggravating and insulting it will feel to you, because not only will your identity not matter, but no one's identity will matter, which means you will be the same as everyone else. You are so desperate to stand out and be different. So desperate to stand out and be different that you all look and act the same, with no level of irony. In the United Kingdom, there are many people who are considered by now standards, modern standards, and have for many years in fact been considered haram, because their beliefs are quite, well, not just polarizing, but they are absolute. They are resolute. They refuse to budge. Many years ago, the individual I'm now going to read a tweet from was going to give a speech at the university I attended. Nigel Farage was as well at one point. People had tried to stop them from being allowed to speak. I disagreed with that idea of no platforming, deplatforming, preventing them from speaking, not because I agreed with what they had to say, but because I believe, regardless of your belief system, whether that be religion, society, politics, so on, okay? And what's better, Star Wars or Star Trek? Obviously Star Trek. You should be allowed to speak, and we should be allowed to hear you out. The individual's name today we're going to talk about is Nick Griffin. Nick Griffin was, I believe, I don't know if he still is, the leader of the British Nationalist Party, the BNP. I haven't heard about the BNP in years. because I thought they were truly irrelevant at this point. He tweeted out under hashtag Gaza under attack and hashtag ceasefire for Gaza, Gaza. Every plume of smoke is another Israeli army vehicle destroyed, and they're not even in the rubble killing fields yet. I know this won't please either some old Brit nationalist, or new Muslim followers, but some of them are barely out of their teens, and actually I feel sorry for them as well as the outgunned but recklessly determined defender of hashtag Gaza under attack. He included a 46-second video. That 46-second video is video game footage from Arma 3. People had to put readers adding context to it to make it quite clear Nick Griffin doesn't know what he's talking about. Of course, the discussion on Gaza and Israel is still really hot, and I refuse to, on this channel, talk about it because I know what it will do. But if you're going to make your grandiose points, where you get 2.9 million views, and you almost get ratioed on the quote tweets alone, it might be worth acknowledging the fact to make your argument, you had to use video game footage. I know video games are really good and quite realistic these days, but fam, don't be a bitch. Next, I saw this video doing its rounds for a number of people, and I thought it was hilarious that somebody would have the balls to say what they say about being drafted, if they're drafted, and, well, using her, well, women's experiences as a reason to justify being told what to do. Originally tweeted by Kavanistan, lol, Lamau, even. Retweeted by Sargon of Akkad, I too am excited about women being drafted into the military for exactly this reason. I'll play the clip and you might get my point.
If women are drafted to the military, I am most excited to see the confrontation between commanding officers and the girls. You think we're gonna let you yell at us? You think we're gonna do something without a please and thank you? We've all had controlling ex-boyfriends. We know not to put up with that bullshit. Like, let's sit down and have a conversation about what you want and what I want, and we'll reach a happy medium. Because there's no way I'm doing what you want when you use that tone with me. You think you can push us around like you do with these men? Think again, baby. You're gonna learn some manners.
I think you need to watch some of the boot camp videos that are on YouTube, because I promise you this, when they get in your face, they punish not just you, but everyone else. Your entire platoon. You will be broken to serve as part of a team, because you, the individual, are of no use to a machine called the military. And I promise you, you saying, no, we're going to sit down and talk about this, will not work when everyone else is suffering for you. I don't care for the idea of the draft, as in signing up for it. Because I'm English, we just get signed up for it. If it happens, we're drafted. But if the option is there, and you are presented with your sheet telling you to go and serve, good luck trying to retain autonomy. To finish, I want to read two tweets from David, aka Discord Spies, aka the artist formerly known as Spinosauruskin or Spineless Foreskin. They're quite important, and lead hopefully to reasonable discussion in the comments. He had retweeted two separate people about two separate issues concerning society. The first tweet was from Tech Siren. I think we effed up by punishing men for mansplaining to us. It's like their love language and actually really sweet. Retweeted. The problem is the original idea of being condescending and the well actually stuff is actually still very annoying, but autistic info dumping sometimes got unfairly labelled. The latter is fine, and honestly outside of very specific crappy people, most can tell the difference. There's also a thing of you're trying to fob off somebody from being a part of a discussion. You mentioned info dumping, that is certainly a part of it. Within social groups, there's nothing wrong with someone being that person, because it fits within a group. There's always one person like, but also people correct each other. You don't have to then devolve that down to gender as a reason for it being corrected, but that often happens by those who seek to be offended or don't want the criticism or the correction, even though being corrected is vitally important. Going through life being wrong is not healthy, but we all get things wrong, so it becomes health to be corrected. Another tweet, Artie the Art Historian. If you have husband in your bio, or a picture of you with your baby in your profile picture, you are not a real man, I'm sorry. If being the parent to a newborn is such a transcendental, I don't know the word, I'm sorry, life defining moment for you, you are spiritually female. David retweeted this with, this is a very good example of the paradox of modern masculinity, where one is expected to seek power over others at the expense of everything, including traditional male roles. Gender politics have become so antagonistic, even caring about your wife is considered beta. And based on what I've seen, I tend to agree. The antagonism doesn't need to be there. It really doesn't. Guys are getting softer, sure, but there's nothing wrong with being proud of being a husband. In fact, many men will never be not proud of being a husband and a father. It's considered a privilege after all. to have someone to share your life with and bring life into this world? How can that be spiritually female? Are we going to go down the path of biochemistry to talk about how the brainwaves change depending on the type of child you have? Because I'll be honest, at that point, it becomes pedantic as food and totally unnecessary. I feel like the tweets that David has retweeted were entirely baited, obviously baited. They wanted the engagement and they got the engagement, to be honest. The first one got ratioed on the retweets, and the second one got ratioed also on the retweets and the replies. Clearly the court of public opinion is not on your side here.